Let's find out. Let's try Craig one more time. If it doesn't work, we'll just call him. Let's bring. Oh, I think we got him. Craig, there you are. What's up, man?
Hey, do you have me? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we got you. We can hear you. It's glorious.
Okay, I could hear you before. How was Mexico?
It was relaxing, man. It was really nice. It was really nice to just sort of chill for a week. It was good.
Oh, that was nice. How was the travel on Gold Medal Sunday?
Our flight ended up getting delayed by 4.5 hours. So we watched the game. Then we sat there at the airport and drank our sorrows away for another 3.5 hours.
That's the way it should be. You don't want to miss the game, and you want to either celebrate or drink your sorrows away. I mean, that seems like a good day. And then you land in someplace that's warm and sunny. I don't think that's the only thing that you just didn't get to celebrate like the rest of us.
Yeah, I tell you, I totally forgot about being at the airport at the beginning of the trip for that game.
Ages ago.
What a buzzkill. We haven't really talked about that yet. That was at least for us, we're like, the whole nation was pissed, but at least we got, like Craig said, at least we got to get on a plane and go to Mexico for a week. So that was okay. And we didn't miss the end of the game. Mind you, wouldn't have mind missing the end of that game because that pissed me off. But anyway, all right. So the Oilers, not a great start coming out of the Olympic break, giving up quite a few goals. They go and pull the trigger on a deal yesterday. They bring in Connor Murphy. It's a second-round pick in 2028 going to the Chicago Blackhawks. Hawks are going to retain 50%. He's a UFA at the end of the year. Craig, is this a deal that you really like?
Yeah, it is. It's a deal I really like. Connor Murphy's a really solid player, and he's a stable, steady player. The exact type of player that Darnell Nurse needs. Listen, I've been on record. Jake Wallman cannot play the offside, and he doesn't help Darnell Nurse. So bottom line is Darnell Nurse, when he's at his best, has a stabilizer around him. I think Connor Murphy is exactly that. And I think Jake Wallman can play left side on the bottom pair. And, there might be times when, you load up Darnell and to do some penalty killing and Jake can slide in with Connor. Connor will help Jake, too, if he's got to play with him. But the Darnell Nurse, Jake Wallman thing has been like, oh, my Lord, you can't even watch. You put one hand over an eye and you put the other hand over the other eye. And then you kind of try to peek through your fingers and you still don't like what you see because you're scared. I think this is a terrific trade. I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to love watching what Connor, there's no flash. He's competitive. He's heavy. He's hard. He knows how to play the game. He has a really strong intelligence. I know how great a trade it was to get Matthias Ekholm. And at the time, I'm not going to revise history. I thought that Jacob Chychrun might have been the better acquisition. Matthias Ekholm did exactly what you wanted to help Evan Bouchard. 1 + 1 = 3. I think Connor Murphy can do similar things for Darnell Nurse. And when Darnell Nurse just has that steady player around him, that stable player, I think Darnell's game takes off. And the other thing, let me just add this.
Yeah.
So second-round pick in 2028 and the Hawks retain half the salary? Oh, my Lord. Did Stan Bowman go to Cal Davidson's birthday party a few years ago and buy him something really special? Because that's low cost. That's unbelievable work by Stan.
And I was going to say, it's unbelievable work and good work given the position the Oilers are in right now with the money and such. Fast forwarding, I guess, to Friday and Friday evening, afternoon, whatever, depending what time zone you're in, the fax machines have been turned off. What do you see as the Oilers doing, or if anything? I mean, there are some people saying that this is just the beginning of a fascinating week for the Oilers. Some saying, no, don't do anything, or maybe they can't do anything. But where do you think this goes? And, I mean, I guess focusing in on a bottom six, third-line center type of player, which we've been discussing for, seems, weeks or months.
Yeah, I think there's two parts to this. I think you try to find that defenseman, that right shot defenseman that could play with Darnell. Check mark. I mean, back in the fall, they went and changed the goaltending, and you still have Calvin Pickard. So, I don't think there's an avenue to go get a goaltender. Maybe there is, but I think they did that. So if you could now find a third line center, and I think we may have even touched on it, I thought maybe a Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson kind of dual trade might have worked nicely. It addresses both areas. But, I don't know if Josh Szymanski, he showed some real positive glimpses when he was up. And you think that if he can continue to build on that, but now you're into the hope stage. So I think that it's a fallback, and I don't think there's anything negative about it. But at the same time, if they could go and find like a center that can play down in that area of the lineup, I think that would be really nice, tidy work for. And again, you're not getting Ryan O'Reilly. Like you're not getting that type of player. You're not getting, but. You find out what's out there. There's going to be some teams fall out of it. There's no question in the next few days, next few games, teams are they're going to become sellers. So, I mean, for an example, and I don't know how it can work or not, but Scott Lawton would be a really good third line center for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, how can you make the dollars work? What does it mean? Bottom line is that type of player would be something significant.
You mentioned Szymanski, and maybe the answer is in the room. Yeah. And I don't know if we've brought this player up with you in that position, but RNH has 3C. I've been for it. Now I know you're taking him away from the top line, which a lot of people would have an argument against, but I still think keeping McDavid and Hyman together is kind of the key there. Is that something that you would get behind or see as a positive move for this team right now?
Yeah, it's not a negative, Eric. And again, because Ryan is so flexible and so versatile, it gives you another tool, another opportunity to swing your lineup around depending on what you're up against. Ryan can swing up. We see it with different players. And I think that Ryan could absolutely fill that role. To me, it's one of those moves where you rob Peter to pay Paul. And so, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm not looking at Ryan as it might be like within game. Okay, we got to do this for a period, or we got to do this for this particular game, and you move him around because he adds so much to so many different areas of your team that you take him from one area and it might affect you in that area as you're trying to support another area. But it's not a negative. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not a negative. Ryan gives you that flexibility, and it's really a positive one.
Craig Button with us on the show this morning. He joins us on the Firehouse Subs hotline. Craig, I want to go back to Connor Murphy just for a second here. He's 32 years old. He's a UFA at the end of the year. But with the cap going up, is he a guy that you would try to keep around for 3 years on the right side if possible?
Well, I'm not going to say yes now. What I'm going to say is I'm going to evaluate what he can do as they move forward. Again, Philip Broberg came in and I thought played really well with Darnell Nurse. Okay, we know what unfolded there, right? So I think that, taking the time and watching how he and Darnell and how he supports that defense group before you have to say yes. And Stan knows him. Stan knows him from Chicago. So I think that you take your time. You don't have to rush into anything. But if he shows that he can be that steady partner and support that blue line, then absolutely you would be open to it. And you're right, the cap goes up to 100, just under 105, then 113. It's not like you're paying Connor Murphy like $10 million a year.
Ottawa's in town tonight. I've been seeing a lot of debate on the Ottawa Senators and whether they should be trying to add pieces here prior to the deadline and sneak into the playoffs, or maybe take a different approach to it. Where do you come out on the Sens right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good team. This Travis Green has done a really nice job with that team. They're good. They've been undone by goaltending. I mean, I know Linus Ullmark was out for a period of time and he's returned, but if Linus Ullmark can find that level of play that the Senators believe he has, that Linus has shown, then they're a team that I think could make a push. They're a team that could go and reel off two out of every three wins. 3.5 out of 5 games, 3.5 wins out of 5 games, like that. Those 7 points out of 10. I think he could do that. But these next 2 games for the Ottawa Senators are going to be telling. If they lose both of them, I think they become sellers. And that means David Perron and Claude Giroux, they're the ones that start to get consideration around the league. But if they win both their games, then I think that, Steve Staios very well would be looking to try to strengthen and bolster the lineup. It's not a lot like everybody, depth defense, maybe a goal, maybe a little more scoring. The goaltending is what's undone the Senators this year. And so there's a little bit of hope there. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of hope that Linus can do it. But if it doesn't happen in the next 2 games, I think they clearly become sellers.
Is Kadri the big fish at the deadline this year? Do you think he gets moved? Is that the one that a lot of these contenders be trying to figure out a way to get?
Well, I think you nailed it, Dustin. That's what everybody's trying to get. It's funny because when everybody talks and everything. Oh, well, the Flames have to get something for their players or assets. Kadri has 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
I mean, Mackenzie Weegar, I get it. Other teams are phoning to try to understand, what it would take to get those players. I understand the calls. But the Calgary Flames are not sitting here going, we got to trade Nazem Kadri, or we got to trade Blake Coleman, or we got to trade Mackenzie Weegar. I understand why teams would be calling, but at the same time, this is not something that if the Calgary Flames see something that makes sense for them, then I would imagine they would do it. But I think this has more to do with the calls going to Calgary's way than a situation where the Calgary Flames are saying, well, we got to move these guys, because I don't see it that way.
Craig, as always, man, great stuff. Good catching up with you again, and we'll do it again next week.
We will. Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Craig Button.